heroic leaders have been responsible for most of the tragedies that have befallen the human race. Why have we only just recognized their fallibility? And to some of your other points, I don't think people have. I don't think even if they recognize that those leaders were fallible, they were just so committed, they were emotionally committed to that leader at that point in time that they're driving all the way through it. They can't ever back up and admit, that was wrong, that was a mistake, or I'm going to look at things differently next time.
Yeah.
And you get this kind of momentum going. How can organizations watch out for and or inoculate against that kind of behavior? How can they give people the freedom to say, I made a mistake, without having all of the judgment and all of the fail associated with that?
Yeah, I think this is a really difficult question. I think ultimately it runs into an argument about permission giving, that it's the role of leaders of all kinds to give permission for other people to either accept that they've made a mistake, or to accept that they're wrong, or to criticize them. And in the absence of that permission giving, then not a lot of stuff gets done. And the number of times I've heard leaders, especially business leaders, say, my door's always open. So if you want to come and tell me if you screw things up, because there won't be any punishment involved. We just need to learn this about what's going on. And yet, how often have you heard that same leader, same business leader, say, "Oh, by the way, last Friday, I lost us £2 million by screwing this contract up. Sorry about that, but nobody died, and we haven't lost any. No one's lost a job. So I think I've learned something, and I really hope you learn something from what I've just done." But in the absence of that permission giving, it's okay to make mistakes and to accept it and learn from it. We seem to get this notion that the people at the top seem to be indelible, seem to be perfect, and everybody else is okay to make mistakes. So I think we have a whole systematic approach which is built into this notion that the last thing you want to do is accept that you've made a mistake, and that is then supported by, say, you take political leaders. This is a classic example where a political leader is going in one direction and everybody is saying this is the wrong direction, and then the political leader will say 2 weeks later, okay, I've changed my mind, we're going to go back in that direction, and everyone says, oh, U-turn.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just keep going in the wrong direction? What's the matter with you? Why are you so weak? So there is something even in the responses that we have to people that accept they've made a mistake, which means it's even more unlikely for them to say, actually, no, you were right, I screwed this up, sorry. Let's go back to the beginning and let's start again. It's really hard to be able to say that. And it's like listening for any politician now to come on television and say, "Do you know what? I am responsible for this," and actually mean it. And because I'm responsible, I'm going to resign. And those days seem to be long over.
Yeah, it seems to be like when you look back at the American presidents, and I think it's probably been affecting other leaders in the world. I think people stopped apologizing for literally anything they did a long, long time ago. It's just not a thing they do anymore. I think they did it maybe back in the 70s to some extent, but it seems to be totally have left the behavior that they seem to be okay with. I mean, I think...
Hold on. I know a couple of political public relations, PR people, and that is one of the things they tell politicians, specifically as coaches: you must never admit you were wrong. So they actually are coaching people, saying that the public sentiment will turn on you and you will lose all credibility if you ever admit that you made a mistake. And that's horrific.
Yeah.